Do you ever get the feeling that sometimes you lose track of what you're ordering and maybe you're ordering the same books over and over again? I know I do. All right, I've got an unboxing video. It's another one from Mile High Comics. It's got a couple of cool books inside. Well, I think they're all great, but what I realized was as I was using my analysis to figure out what books to buy, I was buying multiple copies of the same book, and I was buying them one at a time. I can't really explain why I do that other than I think I'm losing track. When I make a purchase, I don't go into my analytical tools and mark it as like I've already bought this book. I just sort of leave things in there in case I realize there are more copies and it's still a good deal in case the price fluctuates. But really, if I'm looking back at, and you'll see this as I go through the order, and if you've watched some of my previous Mile High unboxing videos, it does look to be a little repetitive at times. And I do kind of scratch my head on this one and wonder if I see a book and it's a good price and it's a good deal at the time, why not just buy them out? Why not just buy or max out the 5 quantity option? I think it's a max of 5 you can order from Mile High at any given time on one book. But I end up buying the books one at a time, and I think it's just a mental thing. Like I'm able to justify the purchase if I buy one at a time, unless I really feel strongly about a book. I know that Darth Vader #1 from 2015, the first appearance of Black Chrysanthemum, I bought 5, and I was kind of caught up in the moment watching the Book of Boba Fett and decided to do that. But some of the other books are not that expensive, and I still only buy one copy. And it's just, I guess it makes me just justify the order or feel better with what I'm purchasing. But it does make me wonder as I unbox these and I keep getting the same, I would say 6 to 12 books in a given time frame. Meaning if I'm placing 3 or 4 orders from Mile High in a given month or in like a 2-month span, and the same book is in each order, and then it'll shift to another book and I'm buying one at a time. And I think I do that too because I'm trying to find that 9/8 candidate. So if I get it, then I'm less likely to buy it again. I'm always on the hunt for that sort of, I guess, like top of the stack or top tier single issue. So my goal with collecting is if I find a key or if I find a book I like, I want to have one high grade slab, hopefully a 9/8, and then one high grade raw, and then other copies that I've either accumulated or upgraded that I can probably sell off or move on from to some degree. So if I'm buying a book and it's a 9/4 and I buy it again and it's a 9/2, I'll end up buying again, and it's like going to Vegas and you're just like, this machine is bound to hit. And that's kind of why I think I do it. But it could just be a mental problem, some sort of just sickness on my end where I just don't know any better. Let me get to the unboxing of this thing, and I'll kind of show you some of the books that are on repeat and why I keep buying them and what conditions I currently have versus what I'm seeking. And hopefully some of these hit on a 9/8 and then I can kind of cross them off my list and move on to some other books. So let's get this order unpacked. All right, so here is the order. This is from Mile High. This was shipped January 6th, 2022. So I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the FedEx envelope once again. And I do repeat this just in case you haven't seen any of my other unboxing videos. I always choose the FedEx option. You can always select FedEx or USPS when you're checking out from Mile High. I prefer FedEx. It's nice and consistent, and I haven't had any issues with them. No damaged shipments or anything like that. So this is pretty standard. Comes in this sort of U-line comic mailer. And I could probably open these packages blind from Mile High at this point. So you get this one last layer of bubble wrap. Sorry, second to last. They used the plastic bag here. This ended up being an 8-book order. They had to cancel one of the books. I actually ordered Strange Academy #1. They had that in stock. It was super expensive, and I wanted to get a copy because I have the J.S. Campbell variant in a 9.8 slabbed, and then I got the standard cover A, the Ramos cover. Gosh, it came back. I don't remember. It was a 9.2 or 9.4. It was low. I was disappointed. And then I have another copy that I think is in worse shape. There's like some sort of page tear, thanks to Midtown. So I thought I would order it, and I was too late, too slow. So it actually is in my order on the invoice, but I was not charged for it because it was canceled. So that was going to be my big book. There's one other big book in here in terms of what I spent, but let's just get to it. Daredevil 55. Gorgeous Echo cover by David Mack. And I feel like there was a run of the Mack covers with Echo on the front that all kind of go together. And I didn't have this issue. And right after Hawkeye kind of finished up there, or towards the end, I went back. Like I said, if you can't get a first appearance, first cover, second appearance, first origin, look for some other covers near the key, around the key. And I think that the Daredevil issues with her on the cover by David Mack that are her first appearance, if you can't get those, there's some additional covers here in Daredevil in the issue 50s that are gorgeous, that are great. So wanted to go ahead and grab one of those. So onto the theme of this order too. You'll see this as the books kind of come in and out of the 8 books that I'm going to show. X-Men 184. This is the first appearance of Forge. This is one of those books that I keep buying. I don't buy them all at once, and I feel like I just don't have a solid 9/8 candidate, and it just eludes me for some reason. Now, looking at the spine in the bag, which I know is a no-no, but that looks decent enough. I'll give it that already. There is a slight miswrapping on it, especially towards the top. Now, the color of the back is about the same as the front in terms of the tones, so you don't notice it as much. So I don't want to be too nitpicky here in terms of what I'm looking for, but that's a book I keep buying. I feel like Forge is going to come into the MCU at some point and be, I think, I don't want to say a major player, but definitely a player, a memorable one in one way, shape, or form. And I just keep buying X-Men 184. Here's another one, Shadows of the Empire, #1. No backing board on this one. I've picked up several copies from Mile High. I can see already several spine ticks on this one. So probably not a 9/8 candidate, but I will continue to grab those until I get one. And same goes for this book, Batman 436. This one I really have no explanation for. This is probably my third, maybe my fourth copy. And again, I'm kind of losing track at this point how many I'm getting from Mile High. This book is very, very affordable once you apply either the 60% or the 50% discount. And the 9.8 slabs of this book sells for somewhere in the $150 to $250 range. I think I looked the other day and they were selling for about $200. And I don't know what. Mile High is usually pretty good about updating their prices, and they just don't update that one. So as long as that one's in stock, I keep buying it. Here's Avengers 49. Now, this one was one of those, hey, let's get all the Kang things. And I feel like that was basically the spec. Anything with Kang on it, get it now. And just make sure you have some. Just make sure you have something with Kang. Was basically kind of the direction from the speculator community. And I went ahead and grabbed this one. I saw it pop in briefly on Mile High and grabbed it for a very, very cheap and affordable price. Marvel Team Up 68. This is a book that I remember reading the reprint in Marvel Tales, and that was kind of my first exposure to Man Thing. Yeah, and I didn't even realize what a reprint was when I was little, and I was reading like it just didn't. I was reading Marvel Tales. I was reading Spider-Man. I was reading a Spider-Man comic, and then when I realized it was a reprint, there was actually an original issue. I went ahead and grabbed this. Now this book was interesting because it had popped because this is the first appearance of Despair. Despair, I had first learned about him in Uncanny X-Men, but this is this character's first appearance, and it's possible that Despair will be showing up in a future Marvel property. So this book picked up a little bit of heat in terms of first appearances and speculation. Trying to get a good solid 9/8 copy here. Spine looks really good, but I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's on the bag or what it is, but something running through that that tree trunk. And it might be time to get out the Absorbing and clean that up a little bit. We'll see. We'll see what that is. But anyway, Marvel Team Up is a book that you can. They're definitely rising recently, but like the Bronze Marvel team ups, Marvel 2-in-1. I ignored a lot of those books when I was collecting before, and now they're heating up because I think everything's heating up or has heated up, I should say. Here's one, speaking of heat, Spider-Man 2099, number 1. I do believe that I have a 9/8 copy already, or 9/8 candidate. This one also looks pretty good. I would have to check out the border. The foil can get easily scratched, but ever since Spider-Man 2099 appeared in the Spider-Verse 2 trailer, it's been everything Spider-Man 2099 coming back strong. And this book continues to rise, and Mile High continued to have copies, so I wanted to grab one there. Now, I mentioned Strange Academy being the big book that was not included and was canceled. This was the other big book I got. It does not have a very high fair market value, and again, I think it's because of the age. This book was released in 1970. So I think that for the most part, your lower to mid grades on eBay kind of drive down the FMV. But in a high grade, it has quite a bit of value, and that is Astonishing Tales number 3. This is featuring Kazar and Doctor Doom. So great covers to great characters to spec on. Great cover. That 15-cent cover price there. And I definitely want to take this book out and give it a closer look just to see, is it I guess slab worthy, or what grade would we give it? First thing that's obviously really easy to take a look at is the spine wrapping. So this one is miswrapped, and that's kind of the gamble or the chance that you take there. So looking at this, it was funny because I'm looking right in there. It's something on Doctor Doom in the character box. It was kind of weird, almost like part of him was like popping off the page there as I moved the light over. But I'm looking at that in the light just to see if there's any color correction right in there. That kind of looked odd, looked a little spotty. So when I open this up, I just want to look through this page to see, and I don't see any bleed through on any ink. First thing I notice, super white pages, and that's great. So I know that this would come back as a white page book no matter what the grade, but and that always adds just a tiny bit of a premium to the book when you get it in white pages. But let me look a little bit closer. So despite the miswrap, the spine looks pretty nice. Corner has a little bit, just a touch of a tear there, but really, really not bad. I would say that's still acceptable. It's not a deal breaker for a 9.8. So the pressure around the spine did create a little bit of a spine tick there, but not bad. How about down here? I have to flip it over to see this corner. Just a slight tear there. Tear and a little bit of crunch. So now we're getting into 9.6 territory. Let me turn over this way so you can see the spine. And on the back, we do see a little bit of spine stress. Hard to see. The back, probably, if I'm being super ultra picky, probably needs a dry clean. So I might do that just regardless, but this little tiny flap of paper, I can move around with my finger. It's just a bit of a tear. It's just a slight tear here. Remember, I'm really zoomed in, so we're talking about like a 1/16 of an inch. But some delicate spine stressing and discoloration, but a strong copy, really strong. If this was any other key book, you're jumping up and down. You know, if this is a Hulk 181 or a Giant Size X-Men #1, X-Men 94, and so on. So as it stands, I don't think it's a 9.8. I think I went over, I don't see any creases at all, really. I might have just created one when I picked it up right there. Gosh, it looks super clean and crisp. There's just like no wrinkles or anything. So I would probably just give it kind of a once over, a nice, maybe with that Epsorian brush, and then go through a little bit with some Epsorian on the back, maybe even a little bit of erasing just around the border. But I would be very careful with this one, and then probably give it humidity right in here to get rid of this and see. So I think that there's some work that needs to be done on that one, but I believe that it is. I don't see why it wouldn't be a 9.4, and I think kind of being a little nitpicky and could even be a 9.6 out of the gate. But again, just to be fair, I feel like 9.4 is probably a fair grade, but I would mark that with the ability to clean and press it. So that's what I'll do here is I will mark it 9.4, clean and press. And that is a strong, high grade, Astonishing Tales #3 from the Silver Age. And I found this book just because it was showing up on my analysis sheet as a strong buy with a lot of potential. And in the fullback with the bag, just looks very presentable, more than presentable. Even with the miswrap, there's just no color breaks at all. Vibrant colors. So this is one that I would slab and hang on the wall. It's just it gives you that nostalgic Marvel Comics feel, and Doctor Doom front and center. I mean, you can't beat it. So that's a real highlight of this order right there. So I won't grade the others. I think we've seen those before, but I do want to show you the store order analysis and kind of where the prices are, how much I paid, and then you can kind of see if I ended up making out or not, and so you can kind of see where my thought process was in terms of adding potential value to my collection. So let's look at the order details. All right, so here are the order details. This is always the fun part for me because I get to look and see what I spent, look at what the books are worth, and then project, kind of what kind of value I was looking to add to my collection. So this order was placed December 22nd. I got it early January. I think they took some time off during the holidays, and it rolled in early January, and I'm still going through those Mile High orders. And I spent $182.80 on this order. And I think people get really scared by these price tags, but then when you get the 60% off, the numbers look better. And it's kind of like one of those things when you go into the store and you see something for $9.99, you're like, it's $9, it's not $10. I think there's some human reaction to seeing the prices as they are without the discount. Even if you were doing the math, there's just something about it where you see Astonishing Tales for $150. Like, I don't care what the discount is, it's too expensive. But for $60, if somebody told you you could get it in a 9.4 with some potential, either through pressing or cleaning or just fortune of getting a high grade book and getting it graded highly, that it could be a sound investment and worth the money and time, which we're going to see here in a second. Was it? I think most savvy collectors say, yeah, I'll take that gamble. That's a calculated risk that I will gladly take. So from a fair market value perspective, I always love this. And again, I've mentioned this before. I do not believe that Mile High Comics is a great source for flipping. I think that's why a lot of modern speculators and other flippers and things like that, they don't get their books. That Mile High is not a source for them. They prefer to go to their LCS and then show things online and double the price. And so they'll clear out a book. They'll buy 5 or 10 copies of a book and then take it to Instagram and try and sell it for twice as much. And that's a strategy. They don't like Mile High for this very reason, because this is really more what I would consider to be an area for investing or being very, very picky and selective with what you buy. So that's why from just a fair market value, just from a straight FMV, we can see here, this is column AA. I took a huge hit, negative $54.39 on the FMV. My only winners here were that Batman 436, the first Tim Drake, and the Daredevil 55 wasn't bad. The great David Mack Echo cover there on that. So it had a fair market value of $8.61, and I bought it for $6.90. And the Batman 436 had a total cost of $14.50, and the FMV right now is $15.79. Again, I think that if it's not sold out by now, then I'm gonna have to buy it out, just because I'm almost getting annoyed that it's still there. I have, I don't know, 4 or 5 copies of it, and I don't know if any of them are 9.8s, but they're all in that 9.4, 9.6 range, and I just keep buying them. The big loser here was Astonishing Tales number 3. Like I said, the FMV as it stands is $6.99 for this book. If you can find it in a 9.4 for $6.99, I would grab that all day. But I can't find it in that high grade condition at that price. The fair market value prices are provided by Cover Price. That is my source for those values. Shadows of the Empire was the big winner once again. Cover Price is insisting that that is a $30 book raw, and I can pick it up at Mile High for $19.70, or at least I could, depending on the availability. Now, this is the fun part, because I'm going to put my grade in column S, and you can start to see where these things shift around. So I don't even have to pretend Astonishing Tales was a 9.4 as it was, and the CGC value for a 9.4 of Astonishing Tales number 3 is $245. So if you're looking at it, why did this guy spend $60 on Astonishing Tales and take the chance? That's why. I think if I sent this book into CGC as is, I think there's a chance it could even get a 9.6. I think that there are just a couple of things that I think need to be addressed. That little piece of paper that's coming up off the corner, the dirt on the back, and a few spine ticks. And to me, but other than that, I think I don't want to say it's a perfect book by any stretch, but what a gorgeous copy just sitting in that Denver warehouse. And these are the books I love to grab. I love to see a book get a little bit of value, a little bit of attention, and I use cover price as my source. I monitor these books, I track them, I watch them, I study them, just like I did as a kid with Wizard Magazine. I'm doing it now digitally, and I kind of hone in. And if I start to see a book show up on that daily hot list or the movers and shakers or any other speculator talk or you name it, but speculators don't talk about a book like this. They're talking about what are they talking about today? A lot of Moon Knight stuff, I guess. Still talking about Kang, Bedlam, Black Hulk, Nulk, or whatever. Like, I'm fine. I actually find that very entertaining. I think Gary once called it infotainment. I totally subscribe to that. So as I'm watching everybody talk about Donny Cates and Hulk and Venom, I like to go and snag Astonishing Tales 3. Anyway, I'm kind of giddy about it because I got it in a high grade. Certainly if it came in and it was an 8.5, I'd be bummed. But thank you, Mile High, for sending me a great book, great copy here. So let's finish this off. Let's just give everything a 9.4 because on average, that's kind of what Mile High is sending. I think they're just a hair under 9.4 right now in the 9.3-ish range. But let's just assign 9.4 to all of these and then take a look at the column AB for CGC profit. And I label these profit because it's supposed to motivate me to potentially move some of these books eventually and sell them. But it's really about adding value to your collection. So that's what that column is. But watch the summary for AB. Right now it's at negative 195. And if we flip them all to 9.4, it's now turned positive to $131.40. So this is what my tools are telling me. They're saying buy these books because, yes, the fair market value might be a little bit under, but the potential for the book to be in a high grade and be professionally gradable, it's worth your time and your money to go after these books. So when I look at potential, I'm looking at the 9.4 space, but I'm also looking at the 9.8 potential. So this is also fun, but extremely unrealistic. What if I were to change all of these to 9.8? Then we're looking at over $2,000 of value being added. Now, I say this all the time, but I'll keep repeating it. I do not expect all of these books to get a 9.8. Clearly, with the Astonishing Tales being a 9.4, I didn't get a 9.8 anyway. The interesting thing is 9.8 of Avengers 49. I really think this one, I saw somebody talking about it. I saw it on a cover price thing, and I bought it, but it was not screaming like there was no spreadsheet or nothing telling me that this was an intelligent purchase, and I just went ahead and grabbed it. And you can see, like, this is why I say, like, don't always just, if somebody's telling you to buy a book, don't always just run out and buy it. Really look at the numbers and look at the potential. This was not a smart buy. It just wasn't. I mean, maybe long-term it is. I don't know. Maybe because it's a book from 2002. It's technically a modern, I guess, but there's just no value in that book currently. I mean, unless you're just going all in on Kang. But I like to try and find books from Mile High that have value right now. And that's what I'm like. I like to get the books that have value now and books that I think could continue to go up rather than books to just purely take a loss, like take an immediate loss so that I could speculate. I think that's too much of a risk for me. Anyway, let's flip these back to 9.4. because I think this is probably more of a realistic view. And again, Avengers 49 has nothing in a 9.4. Daredevil 55 is surprising. It's not worth anything really in a 9.4. In a 9.8, it was a $56 book, so not bad. Again, I love the Mac, and I love the Echo spec there on that one. But still, I feel like in a worst case, it's still a book that I could turn around and sell raw and not take a big hit on. Marvel Team Up in a 9.4 is a $40 book. Has the potential to be a $500 book. So that one was worth the $23 I spent, I feel. And this is kind of what you can see. So you can look at the total cost in Z, CGC profit. Again, this is the value of the slab after all the fees and after I sent everything in. And of course, I'm leaving Astonishing Tales as a 9.8, which is misleading. It's really only a 9.4, unless I'm able to get it pressed and cleaned. And let's see, Shadows of the Empire, again, I know that one's not a 9.8, but even in a 9.4, it's being reported as an $88 book. My goodness, I think all of the ones I purchased are probably right around that 9.2, 9.4 range. Should I just get those slabbed and sell the slabs? It just kind of feels dirty. I don't know. Spider-Man 2099 is interesting. $78 in a 9.4. In a 9.8, it is a $200 book. And if you're looking at that going, hey, that was dollar bin fodder a couple years ago, or even before, I mean, certainly before that, I think for a while. But those days are gone. I'm sorry, we can't keep saying that's a dollar bin all day long. It's not. If there are no more dollar bins with that book, unless you're looking at like a very good condition copy. If you want somewhere between a 9.4 and a 9.8 on that book, it's not a dollar anymore. Every LCS has that up on the wall now. It's not in dollar bins. And that's the thing. It's I'd rather see a book rise in value and pay as it's going up. I try not to pay on the peak, but pay as it. That way, you're kind of ensured that this train has left the station. People are going to speculate and buy into it. I'd rather do that than have long box after long box of dollar books and just pray that a couple of them hit. So again, that $200 book in a 9.8, 9.4, still good value there at $78. I paid $32.50 for that Spider-Man 2099. A little under $20 in the Shadows of the Empire, and again that X-Men 184, as I mentioned, $18.50 for the first appearance of Forge, a very specific and necessary X-Men character in the X-Men lore, going all the way back to 1984. It's not a rare book. I see that book a lot, but I think that Forge was just one of those characters that I know I never really got into when I read his whole relationship with Storm back in the day, and I didn't know what to make of it. But certainly I could see like a specialty team of X-Men, of mutants in the MCU, and Forge is going to be on that list. He's going to be in the top 5, and it's a character that we haven't seen before. So I'm going to keep talking about that book to kind of justify my purchase anyway. And even in a 9.4, 9.4 white pages, slabbed, $64 out the door, and you've gained $13.28. So every time I'm buying that, I'm adding about $13 of value if I'm looking at the CGC value there. So not too bad. So there you go. So there's the breakdown of the order. I still don't know if I have an answer for you as far as why I keep buying the books, other than kind of looking at the values that I showed you. I'm trying to figure out, if I have several copies of that 184, try and isolate that very best copy, send it into CGC, get it graded, and once that 9.8 comes back, then slowly start to move those lesser grade copies out, or decide, do I send in a bulk order to CGC and get them all graded and sell them as slabbed? I have options, and that's why I kind of do it. I'm buying them one at a time, giving myself options, filling in very specific books into my collection, and really using the numbers. And you can see from this order that Avengers 49, it showed up on my radar and I jumped on it, and I didn't use all of this information that I'm gathering correctly, I just ignored it. And you can kind of see like, wow, okay, I took a little bit of a loss there. I like to find books that have value today, and that's kind of how I look at buying back issues. Is find the back issues, find them in high grade, find the books that are on the incline, ride that incline for a while towards a Disney Plus or MCU show or movie appearance, and then move off of the books later, or keep them and be happy that they're part of your collection. So hopefully you enjoyed this unboxing. I appreciate you watching. Happy collecting, and see you next time.